Today is day 206 of the podcast, and I want to start by reading Romans 1:20. For since the creation of the world, his invisible attributes, his eternal power and divine nature have been clearly seen, being understood through what has been made, so they are without excuse. God uses multiple ways to access the heart of man, particularly those who have eyes but see not, and those who have ears but hear not. In the Old Testament, we watch him speak to Moses by a fire in a burning bush that doesn't go out. It's an unquenchable fire. It captures Moses' attention, and then when Moses turns aside, God speaks. You have the pillar of fire and the pillar of cloud that leads a whole people, something tangible and present that the people could learn to follow a visible presence. God wanted to make himself known. But in the New Testament, God sends his Son and begins to speak to man through the Son of God. Listen to Hebrews 1, verses 1-3. God, after he spoke long ago to the fathers in the prophets, in many portions and in many ways, in these last days, has spoken to us in his Son, whom he appointed heir of all things, and through whom also he made the world. And verse 3 is critical. He is the radiance of his glory and the exact representation of his nature, and upholds all things by the word of his power. When he made purification of sins, he sat down at the right hand of the Majesty on high. The Son came as the exact representation of God's nature and character. What man was created originally to be in the image and likeness of God, the Son came and displayed what a display of that looks like. Now, since Pentecost, God speaks by his Holy Spirit, and we have to learn how to not use our natural eye and natural ear, but how do we begin to sense what the Lord wants to impart to us. Sometimes it's an inner voice that gives wisdom and counsel. We just know what to do. Sometimes we have an impression, something that it's like it makes a mark on us. We realize that there's something catching our attention. It makes an impression. Sometimes we see an image in the eye of our heart. Sometimes we recall a verse. And when we recall it, we receive instruction from it. Other times there's a word of knowledge, knowing something that we didn't know by any natural means, or a word of wisdom that didn't come from any natural learning. And as we live in submission to any of those that I just described and put our life in submission to that, we begin to gain an understanding by the Holy Spirit, and we begin to encounter the living God. So here's today's question. Do you consider hearing the voice of the Lord vital today?